Now it's time to sew these side seams. I'm gonna start right here at the top. I'm gonna sew it a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Right here is where you'll find the 1/2, right between the 3/8 and the 5/8 on our machines. If you look at this little card, see we have 5/8, 3/8. Right there is gonna be our 4/8 mark, which is what we're gonna guide our fabric along. We are gonna start up here and backstitch, sew down to here and backstitch. We are gonna pick our needle up, not sew over this area, backstitch here, and then sew down to this other mark and backstitch. I will show you on this first one. So you're lined up right here. I'm gonna line up my fabric at my 4/8 mark. I'm gonna take out my pin because remember, we never, ever, ever sew over our pins. And we're gonna put our presser foot down. We're gonna put our needle down and we're gonna get started. Make sure that you sew at a slow speed. We're gonna sew and backstitch. And we're gonna keep on going. When we get to that dot, remember we backstitch. And then I'm gonna pick up my needle. I'm gonna pull out this pin and we are just gonna go right down to here. We will be able to cut the thread that is created there. And so do not worry about that. Then you are gonna continue sewing a few stitches and backstitch. And then I'm just gonna continue sewing until I get to my next marking line. As I'm doing this, I'm sewing these 2 layers together, but I don't want to catch any extra fabric in that. Oh, notice how my marking point is coming up. Pull the pin, slow down as I get to it, and I'm going to backstitch just to secure that seam in place. Perfect. Now I can pull this out of my machine, and we will look at what we sewed. There we go. So we have this seam allowance we just sewed, but we have this little spot here in the middle that wasn't sewn. What we can do there is take some scissors and we're gonna cut our thread, and notice how we have a hole right there. That will allow us to put our casing through, so that is exactly what we want. Now you can go ahead and sew the other side. When you put the other side in the machine, one thing to note is that instead of starting up here at the top, you're gonna have to start down here at the bottom, because we always wanna prioritize making sure that we can see that marking line. So we wouldn't wanna sew it the same way because it would be going through the machine like that and we wouldn't be able to see it. So we will start right here. We will put our machine down. We will start sewing, backstitch, as we get to this opening, we will backstitch. And then we're going to skip, oops, careful not to do what I just did as it's hard on the machine. Then we'll put our needle down. We will backstitch. It's really important to backstitch in that area because otherwise that seam could come loose, which would be really bad and it would make your drawstring bag come apart. And then we backstitch at the end, just like that. And there you go. Don't forget to clip these threads and you are ready for the next step.